Belren News. Mafhungo. Rotshidzwa Maremba.
Ndolivhuwa zwa zwino ndi tshifhinga tsha mafhungo. Vhoramabindu vhaṱuku kha nḓowetshumo ya u fhaṱa vha ṱangana na khaedu dzo yaho nga u fhambana kha ḽa Afrika Tshipembe. Livhuwani Murendeni Tshikhudo ndi musedzulusi o gudaho nga ha mveledziso ya vhoramabindu vha wanalaho kha vunḓu ḽa Gauteng. Kha ri pfhe a tshi ri kovhela tsedzuluso yawe.
My name is Livhuwani Murendeni Tshikhudo. I did my master's with the University of Johannesburg. I was doing this on a research-based setup. My master's was research-based. So the research title was the development of construction SMMEs in the South African construction industry. Right? In terms of the background of the study in this research, as I conducted the research, South African construction industry is a significant engine of economic growth, but it is one that is dominated by a vast number of small, medium, and micro enterprises, commonly known as SMMEs. As large construction firms restructure and downsize in response to shifting economic demands, SMMEs have become increasingly critical, not just to the industry, but to the country's broader goals of job creation, poverty alleviation, and transformation in the country. Yet despite this importance of these SMMEs, South Africa carries one of the highest SMME failure rates in the world, sitting at approximately 75% across all sectors. In 2011 alone, around 40% of all construction companies, including SMMEs, filed for bankruptcy. This was among the highest proportions ever recorded in the country at the time. The question then became, why are so many failing, and what can be done to reverse this? The existing literature, while rich in identifying challenges, it offered limited empirical evidence specific to South Africa, specific to Gauteng province, specific to South Africa. But global studies from Malaysia, China, Ghana, and Nigeria provided a useful framework for this study, but could not be directly applied to South African contexts. So this gap, the absence of national and provincial specific construction-focused empirical data on SMME development, right, is exactly what this research set out to fill, this gap right here. The study therefore pursued 5 objectives, which was to identify the critical success factors for SMME survival, to profile the entrepreneurial characteristics that drive success, to assess the effectiveness of current government development initiatives, to identify barriers blocking growth, and to recommend actionable development pathways. That's as much as I can say about the background on that. In terms of the key literature and knowledge gaps, the literature confirmed that SMMEs globally contribute between 50 to 60% of employment and GDP in developing economies. This is not just specific to construction, but SMMEs in general. In South Africa, they are estimated to account for 50% of GDP and employ approximately 60% of the workforce. However, the literature also revealed consistent failure points: poor access to finance, weak management skills, corruption, well, as you know, and low awareness of available government support. Like there might be support initiatives that are there from government, but the SMMEs are not fully aware of it. They are not exposed to it, so they hardly benefit from it. Crucially, while international and continental experiences from Malaysia, CIDB master plan to Ghana's contractor development models offered valuable lessons. No comprehensive study had examined these dynamics through the specific lens of the South African construction SMME sector. That was the knowledge gap this research addressed. So in terms of the research findings, or the core results, as requested, the study surveyed 120 SMME construction firms across Gauteng using structured quantitative questionnaire. Respondents included directors, project managers, quantity surveyors, and your civil engineers, a cross-section that gave the findings a strong industry credibility per se. So on critical success factors, the top ranked factors for SMME survival were producing quality work, goes without saying, good cash flow management, again goes without saying, sound contractual understanding, very important, and there's always a lag here with people in SMMEs, contractual understanding, and this is where they are caught finding, and they end up in courts. Having a normal business plan and effective internal communication. Some businesses fall apart because people are communicating across each other, and as a result, the business suffers. The people are also working in silos at times, so communication is barely there, but they are working to the same objective, which doesn't make sense. They were not just theoretical ideas. They were ranked by practitioners actively operating in their fields, these things that I'm saying above here. But anyway, in terms of the entrepreneur characteristics, objective that we wanted, personally, honesty and reliability were ranked first, followed by being self-motivated and decisive. In business terms, the ability to plan was ranked the highest, followed by dispute management skills and communication ability. Communication ability, which is then still linking to what we talked about on the critical success factors, communication, and dispute management, linking again back to the contractual understanding, because that's where disputes arise, and you need to know how to manage them to avoid ending up in court, and also within the company as well, the disputes that come in there. How do we resolve them and avoid them being costly to the company? So those were the entrepreneur characteristics. On barriers to growth, corruption ranked as the single biggest impediment. You would know, we currently have the Matlanga Commission, because of such things in different departments in the police space, but yeah, also in construction, corruption is a big giant that seems to be the barrier to growth of this SMMEs, because you find people have to pay. I'm giving context on things that are still happening on the day to date, that people have to pay for their invoices to be paid, or to push their invoices to be paid at a certain time, which is not on, especially for a small medium enterprise that is just starting. Where do they even begin to find such kinds of money, But yeah, rated first with a mean score of 4.84 out of 5. That was corruption. This was followed by insolvency and credit problems, poor cash flow management, difficulty accessing finance, lack of management and general business skills also featured prominently. This goes back to the running of companies, as I said. In terms of the development initiatives, the CIDB's National Contractor Development Plan was the most recognized and most effective initiative, acknowledged by over 86% of respondents. However, a critical finding emerged. Despite 89% of the respondents having participated in some form of development program, awareness of available support remained worryingly low, suggesting a significant information gap between government offerings and the contractors who need it the most, right? So those were the findings. In terms of research impact and demonstrable benefits beyond academia, this one, interesting. The real-world value of this research extends well beyond the walls of academia. I would like to believe. For policymakers and government bodies, the findings provide a direct evidence-based roadmap. The recommendation that all SMME owners be required to demonstrate attendance at a recognized managerial skills program before being awarded subcontracting tenders is a practical, implementable policy measure. Similarly, the call for annual provincial impact evaluations of SMME support programs gives government a clear accountability mechanisms. So this is talking to some of the recommendations that are made within the study, right? So the recommendations were going in the light of SMME owners must be required to demonstrate attendance at a recognized managerial skills program before being awarded subcontracting tenders. Also, there was a recommendation to say annual provincial impact evaluations of SMME support programs should be undertaken so that we can see to what extent are these programs helping the SMMEs. And then in terms of for the impact on the construction industry, the finding that larger enterprises should formally adopt and mentor at least 5 SMMEs. Well, that was my recommendation, that larger enterprises should formally adopt and mentor at least 5 SMMEs, transferring knowledge in tendering, cash flow management, health and safety, and resource management is a structured, scalable solution to skills transfer that does not require any new legislation. So that's the impact on the construction industry. The impact for the SMMEs themselves is that the research, hence entrepreneurs, prioritized that data-backed checklist of what actually sustains a firm: quality work, financial discipline, contractual literacy, and qualified staff. This is not generic business advice. It is grounded in the lived experience of 120 Gauteng-based contractors in South Africa. For transformation and economic equity, the impact is that with 54% of the respondents being Black African, reflecting the impact of BEE policies, the research directly supports South Africa's transformation agenda by identifying the precise interventions needed to help emerging contractors grow beyond the lower CIDB grades and compete sustainably. And in summary, this research does not describe a problem, it maps it, it measures it, it points clearly to where the solutions lie, making it a practical resource for government, for industry bodies, and every construction SMME is striving to beat the odds.
Stars shine brighter in the dark. Iyi ndi bugu ya zvirendo yo ṅwaliwaho nga Murendeni Mashava a bvaho Midoroni kha ḽa Kutama. Mashava uri zwirendo zwi re ngomu zwi ṋea vhavhali phodzo na u rudzwa ha mbilu, uri i dovha hafhu ya thusa vhavhali u dzhiela nṱha mpho dzavho. Mashava uri bugu iyi i dovha hafhu ya vha sumbanḓila kha vhaswa. Mashava o amba hezwi:
Nenga dzina ndi pfi Murendeni wa Mashava, ndi muṅwali wa bugu inopfi Stars Shine Brighter in the Dark. Iyi bugu ndo i ṅwala nga ṅwaha wa 2023. Ndi tshi khou i ṅwala ndo sendekana iyi bugu kha dzinyimele nnzhi dzine vhathu ra ṱangana nadzo ri tshi khou tshila. Iyi bugu ya dovha ya vha yone tshiṱangu kana tsumbanḓila ya uri na vhoriṋe vhaswa ri nga zwi kona, ri nga zwi ita, uri ri nga dzhia ngudo ya hune ra bva hone na nḓivho ra i phaḓaladza shango nga vhuphara. Iyi bugu ndi tshi i ṅwala ndo vha ndo i sendekana na kha u shuma, uri vhaswa kha ri shume nga maanḓa ri sa khou tou sedza nyimele nnzhi uri dzi background dza vhoriṋe dzo tou imisa hani, ngori ndi shangoni zwithu zwi a konḓa. vha mufuni kana muvhali wa zwirendo, iyi bugu ina zwirendo zwo fhambananaho, zwina tshaka nnzhi nga ngomu ha bugu iyi. Thero dza hezwi zwirendo dzo fhambanana, muleza ndi munzhi, ngudo na nḓivho zwo ḓadza bugu, vhunga ri tshi kha ḓi guda, u guda hu sa fheli.
Ndi zwenezwo zwe ra vha ro vha kuvhanganyela zwone namusi, nṋe na vhone kha ri ṱangane tshifhingani tshiḓaho.
Lwa miṅwaha I fhiraho fusumbe, dzina ḽithihi fhedzi ndi ḽone ḽi bvaho phanḓa khou endedza vhadzulapo vha ḽa Afrika Tshipembe. Mulaudzi Transport Service ndi khamphani yavho ine ya vha endedza u ya na u vhuya mishumoni nyendo dza kule na tsini, hu tshi katela na u welekanya mikano ya mashango a tsini na Afrika Tshipembe. Ri vha endedza vha swika hune vha khou ya vho tsireledzea. Arali vha tshi ṱoḓa u bva nga tshigwada u dzhenela vhuṱambo vhufhio na vhufhio, kha vha ri fhulufhele ngauri ri ḓo vha swikisa nga tshifhinga. Vha nga ri kwama kha nomboro dzi tevhelaho 083 227 0606. Mulaudzi Transport Service, no place is too far to reach. Zwino ri tshi khou amba vha nga vha sa ḓivhi uri masheleni a u tandulula thaidzo ine vha vha nayo vha ṱo a wana gai, vha songo tsha ṱwa vha tshi renga nga ṱhoho lini. Belrand Brands I hanefha tsini na vhone, ri ḓo vha thusa u bva kha 500 u swika kha 4000 randa. Riṋe ri khou ṱoḓa tshiḽipi tsha muholo, khophi ya basa, 3 months bank statement na proof of residence. U bva afho tshelede I khou ṋamba ya dzheniswa nga murahu ha zwiminetse nyana. Kha vha rumele WhatsApp zwino 072 019 5843. Belrand Brands ndi vha hadzimiswa masheleni vho ḓiṅwaliselaho.
Are you a survivalist entrepreneur in the Vemba district? Belrand Brands is here to back your hustle. Get a loan from just 500 rands up to 4,000 rands designed to grow your business. All you need is 6 months of bank statements, 6 months of sales records, your South African ID, and proof of residence. Apply today on WhatsApp 07201958843. Belrand Brands, empowering entrepreneurs, building communities. Terms and conditions apply.